Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. And now we move to security, where Zamfara State Governor Dauda Lawal insists his administration's decision not to negotiate with bandits is yielding positive results. Now, he made this remark while receiving the Chief of Air Staff, Air Marshal Hassan Bala Abubakar, who was in the state on a condolence visit following the recent accidental bombing of civilians by the air component of Operation Fansanyama. Now, the governor said peace is gradually returning to the state and commended security forces for their prompt response to distress calls. Meanwhile, reports indicate that 12 operatives of the State Community Protection Guards and local vigilantes were killed in a clash with bandits in Adabka village, Bukiyum local government area. Residents say several others sustained gunshot wounds and have been taken to hospital for treatment. Now, to discuss this further, we're joined by security expert Dr. Edinen Usoroh. Thank you so much for joining us on the news, Dr. Usoroh.
Thank you. Good day.
So let's hear from you. Do you believe that negotiating with bandits is a viable solution to ending banditry in northern Nigeria, or does it risk legitimizing criminal activities?
I know that it is absurd. Because if you begin to negotiate with outlaws who actually don't mean any good intent of surrendering and then leaving their criminal activities, if you do that, talking about negotiating, when you are negotiating with another party, that party will give you their own condition for peace, and then you also give the other party your own conditions for peace. That is dangerous, and I would want to advise that governments should be careful, they should be mindful. When you are dealing with outlaws, these are people who don't respect the laws of the land, and they have no regards for the constitution of the country. And you need to be careful, because by the time because most of the time we hear about this issue of peace, we hear about this issue of surrendering, we hear about this issue of people coming out from the bushes when the military is beginning to get the upper hand. So I think that in all dimensions, it is wrong to talk about negotiating with these outlaws.
Okay, but then Governor Dauda Lawal actually stated that peace is gradually returning to Zamfara State, despite him not negotiating. So, but to what extent can this be attributed to the non-negotiation policy? And do you think that this approach can actually be sustained in the long term?
Yeah, yes. We have to commend the governor of Zamfara. I think the governor of Katsina State has also stated the same thing. Make sure the military is on the heels of these people. I've always been advocating that we should not be reacting, which in the time past, that's what our forces have been doing. We should not be reacting to attacks from these bandits. The military should be encouraged to take the battle to them. And I think that even like the Zamfara State governor, give the military all the support you can. Give the police all the support you can. Give them the modern assets that they need to prosecute, this war. And then let's go into it and finish it, in a shorter period of time. But I can tell you this: what has been happening is that sometimes you just react to one local government, and then you go relax, and then these guys will run away, come back better armed, and attack. So I think what the Zamfara State government is doing or has done is that, fine, we're not going to negotiate, we're not going to give you hillocks, because these guys will demand for hillocks bosses, they will demand for motorcycles. What are you looking for motorcycles for? So that when you start your trouble again, you'll be using them, to ferry abducted people into the forest. So it's good. The government is saying we're not going to do it. But to sustain this, the Nigerian government needs to empower our military more and more. I know that if the government takes this as a matter of emergency, honestly, our military can end all this crisis in a shorter period of time than many people expect.
Well, I wanted to ask you about, what your thought is about, the local security forces and what measures can be implemented to better protect them and also local vigilantes. But you did say that they need to be armed, so you did answer the question. So now, how crucial is socio-economic development, particularly addressing poverty and the lack of education, when you're looking at the broader strategy to eradicating banditry in northern Nigeria?
Certainly, I will tell you this. It's a big problem. A big problem. Because this is a country with all the food crisis, with all the economic crisis we're having. You will still see some guys in some local communities, with 3, 4, 5 wives, with uncountable number of children, many of them without any meaningful source of livelihood. And honestly, no government can be able to manage this except everyone that is involved: government, traditional rulers, religious leaders, the local politicians get together to advise people. Because let's look at this. If you're someone whose earning is not up to 20,000 naira a month, and you have 3 wives or 4, you have about 20 children. Just imagine, that one on its own is a security problem. So my advice will be that while we try to behave as if we don't have serious problems in our hands, the government needs to collaborate with the local authorities, like I've said, religious leaders, political leaders, to advise people, talk to people, let people know that no matter how good a government may be, there are certain situations you find yourself in that no government can get it out. When you are in a deep pit, it takes just a miracle. So we have, like I've said, if you check out the number of out-of-school children, you check out the number of those who are on the streets, because these are potential recruitment, grounds for these kind of criminal people. So we really need to be sincere to ourselves. We should remove politics out of it. We should not be talking about our culture. Our culture said you can have as many wives as you can. Our culture said nobody should count the number of children he or she may have. Okay, fine. Such cultures maybe in the time of our forefathers. Forefathers where land was enough for everyone. Not this kind of population that we are handling now, talking about over 200 million people. Then maybe that culture was okay then. But now we're talking about a situation where we have limited resources at all levels, in every community, limited resources. So you cannot go ahead with having the number of children maybe your grandfather had, and then you think that government will help. We will only be adding to our problems. And you've seen the crisis. We're talking about drugs problem. We're talking about bandits. We're talking about terrorist gangs, insurgents, and kidnappers and all that. Okay. So these problems will only happen if we don't do the right thing.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Usoroh, for your time and for speaking to us on this.